Good evening. As we come on the air here in the West, it is great to have you with us as we start another week together, and there have been many developments tonight. House Democrats are now moving forward with an article of impeachment accusing the president of incitement of insurrection, calling members back to Washington now to consider something that has never been done before, whether to impeach a president for a second time. We have now learned a vote could come as soon as Wednesday now, and so what then with a Senate trial that would follow? What we're learning on that front as well tonight. All of this as new and disturbing images come to light. All of it playing out after that rally with the president, during which he urged his supporters to march to the Capitol, saying, "You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to be strong," saying he'd be right there with them, watching back from the White House instead. And then what came after. And this is difficult to watch. The angry crowd surging forward, overpowering police, and one man can actually be seen tossing a fire extinguisher, striking several officers in the head. Rioters attacking police officers guarding a door, dragging one officer down the stairs, a man striking him over and over with a pole carrying the American flag. Inside, lawmakers seen through a window being led to safety, a man seen smashing through that window with his fist. Now the nationwide manhunt, some 40,000 tips, dozens already under arrest. And the FBI out tonight with a sobering warning that armed protests are now being planned in all 50 state capitals and in the nation's capital this weekend and right through the inauguration next week. A group calling for the storming of government buildings and an uprising if the president is removed from office. There are threats tonight against the president-elect Joe Biden and the vice president-elect Kamala Harris, too. The president-elect was asked today, does he feel safe being sworn in outside the Capitol? He said yes. There is a lot to unpack tonight, and we're going to begin here with ABC's Mary Bruce, leading us off from Washington.
Tonight calls for accountability as the horror of the siege on the Capitol comes into clear view. Rioters seen beating an officer with an American flag. President Trump's supporters trying to hunt down his own vice president after he refused to overturn the results of the election, chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." House Democrats are now moving quickly to try and remove Trump from office, introducing a single article of impeachment, charging the president with incitement of insurrection for inciting violence against the government of the United States by urging his followers to march on the Capitol.
Well, sadly, the person who's running the executive branch is a deranged, unhinged, dangerous President of the United States.
The House Speaker detailing to 60 Minutes how her staffers hid, horrified, as the mob overtook her offices.
The staff went under the table, barricaded the door, turned out the lights, and were silent in the dark.
Under the table
Under the table for 2.5 hours.
Wow. 60 Minutes obtaining this audio of what her staffers heard, the president's supporters trying to bang down the door. The speaker is now pressuring Pence to act first, urging the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment and immediately remove Trump from office. It seems highly unlikely, but Pence notably hasn't publicly rejected the idea. The vice president seen at the White House today, speaking with the president for the first time since the riot. Several members of the president's party, like Senator Pat Toomey, say Trump should resign.
I do think the president committed impeachable offenses.
Some of the president's top allies are also turning on him.
You know,
so you think it was an impeachable offense?
Before Jordan. Oh, sure. Yeah. If inciting to insurrection isn't, then I don't really know what is.
Tonight, prominent freshman Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn, who attended the rally with the president, said it was a, quote, major mistake for Trump to tell the crowd to head to the Capitol and that he'd be there with them.
You know, he never should have directed that crowd towards the Capitol building because they, just there was a bad outcome was destined at that point.
But even after the riot, Cawthorn and more than 100 House Republicans stood by the president and voted to overturn the will of the voters. And tonight, the vast majority of congressional Republicans aren't saying one way or another if Trump should go.
My personal view is that the president touched the hot stove on Wednesday and is unlikely to touch it again.
As for the president, he's been holed up in the White House, silent since Twitter permanently kicked him off the site due to the risk of further incitement of violence. But breaking her silence today, the First Lady, Melania Trump, says she was disappointed and disheartened by the insurrection, but that she's been treated unfairly, saying it's shameful that surrounding these tragic events, there has been salacious gossip, unwarranted personal attacks, and false, misleading accusations on me. It's unclear what she's talking about. Sunday, Trump finally lowered the flags to half staff at the White House in honor of Officer Brian Sicknick, who was injured in the chaos and later died. Pelosi, Pence, and President-elect Joe Biden have all spoken with the officer's family, but not the president. He still hasn't said a word about Officer Sicknick's death.
All right, so let's get right to Mary. She's up on the Hill again tonight. Mary, Democrats are now preparing for an impeachment vote on Wednesday. They believe they have support from Democrats and some Republicans, too. But we also know the Democrats are concerned if the House impeaches the president for a second time, which would be historic. Then, of course, comes the Senate trial, just as President-elect Joe Biden takes office in the middle of this pandemic, this economic emergency. You've got new reporting tonight from the soon-to-be Majority Leader Schumer, and the President-elect Joe Biden today was asked about this, too, whether a Senate trial would really hamper what he needs to get done right away.
Well, David, tonight Chuck Schumer is pushing for a Senate trial to begin before Biden takes office, but that seems highly improbable. More likely, a Senate trial would dominate the early days of a Biden presidency. Democrats are in a tough position here. They want Trump held accountable, but Biden is also eager to get to work and to unite the country. Today, he suggested Congress may try to split its time between working on his agenda and a Senate trial, while other top Democrats say just wait, postpone a trial in the Senate until after Biden's first 100 days. A lot of unknowns here tonight, David.
And a lot for Americans to take in tonight. Mary, thank you. President Trump, meanwhile, out of sight for days now, holed up in the White House. So let's get right to our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, tonight. And John, you've reported the president has discussed pardoning himself. You're also learning that the few advisors who do remain at the White House are now warning him that if that happens, he could face civil suits stemming from the riot.
The president has been warned, David, by some of his lawyers that if he goes ahead and pardons himself, he could be more vulnerable to civil lawsuits, including from some of those injured in the Capitol riot, because a self-pardon would be seen as an admission that he did something wrong that he would need to be pardoned for. The president is angry. He has not taken that well. And I am told that he is now saying that he doesn't want to see pardons for anybody. So the attitude seems to be, if I can't get a pardon, then nobody else should get one either.
And John, we've seen these private companies taking action, Twitter shutting down the president's Twitter account permanently. Now the PGA cutting ties, saying it will not hold the PGA golf tournament at the president's Bedminster course next year.
This is a big blow to Donald Trump. The PGA said in canceling their tournament, quote, that it was detrimental to the PGA brand, or it would be, to hold the tournament at a Trump property, and it would put the organization at risk. I am told that the president is livid about this. He was really looking forward to it and had been working very hard on it. The Trump organization is calling it a breach of contract.
John Karl tonight as well. Thank you, John.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.